Connecting community through business, building relationships, and building Waterloo Region. 570 News presents Business to Business, powered by Save on Energy. Here's your host, Glenn Pelletier.
Just kind of give my thoughts. Yeah.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Business on 570 News. Glenn Pelletier in studio, as always, with Ian McLean of the Greater Kitchener-Waterloo Chamber of Commerce and Greg DeRocher of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce. We're also joined by Kitchener-Waterloo Member of Parliament, Peter Braid, and Karen Gallant of Communitech, where she is Director of Talent Networks. And we're going to talk about an effort that the Chamber has initiated to assist BlackBerry workers. I know that there are other people helping out, but you guys are as well.
Well, actually, Communitech has been the lead on working with folks that have been unfortunately displaced through the restructuring of BlackBerry, but. We're gonna have Peter on in just a minute, and he's gonna talk about how he's trying to coordinate on the elected officials front and working with our provincial and federal and municipal leaders. And then Karen's gonna come on a little later in the show and tell us specifically about the program and the things that they're doing to be the coordinator at Communitech. But also we'll talk a little bit about the things we're doing individually at the chambers to support that effort and try and encourage people to get out and look for that next job. So, but we should talk a little bit about the Business Expo. We were very pleased on last Monday to have the Business Expo at Bingham's, and Greg, you had a great time. You were a great cameraman, so you should tell them.
Yes, we interviewed Glenn Pelletier as well.
Absolutely.
That was kind of a sketchy interview.
We had, 195 exhibitors?
There were luminaries there then, were there?
There were luminaries.
Absolutely.
Wait, let me look that word up. Luminaries.
No, we had probably had 2,000 people attend.
Oh, it was great. I think actually it was probably the best one that we've ever had in the 13-year history of the.
At the end of the day, what did that event accomplish? What does it accomplish for you each
I think
year?
Really what it does is it brings awareness to the business community of other businesses that are here in the Tri-City areas that we can you can do business with, and I think that's critically important that we create. We always have to be thinking globally. We always have to be thinking outside of our comfort zone, but at the same time, we need not neglect the businesses that are right here in our community. We need to give support to them, and doing that, we can create our own little economy. And I think that's even speaking to what we're going to be talking about later about building businesses internally with people that have the skill to do it. So I think we
walked around. And we did do some interviews for your web program, which was actually I had a lot of fun doing that.
I know you were a little bit too much fun.
I know my staff won't allow me to have a camera, but I've got it on the Christmas wish list. but part of what it was, it was great, and we heard from a lot of people that's a great networking opportunity because it is really as much it's consumers coming and with 2,000 people there was a lot more than just businesses, but it's a business to business opportunity, but also showing to consumers. So
I think what I noticed this year, Ian, and you probably attest to it as well because we walked through the whole show, but it was steady from the beginning right to the end. And in fact, I know my staff were getting ready to take down our booth that was there, and they looked out into into one of the halls and said, "There's still people walking around and going through the booth." So it was
I got
great.
there half an hour before, and the parking lot was already full. So
I parked in the woods actually.
Yeah. But it was one of those opportunities for the three chambers to work together, Guelph, Cambridge, and we Cambridge and KW.
And Glenn, how did you enjoy it?
I had a great time. I met a lot of people, and yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, I noticed you were.
And the paparazzi stopped you about halfway through the.
You guys were shooting video. What was that all about? What was that
we do a video on our at every business after hours where we go around and interview members, and that gives them an opportunity to expose themselves as to what they do and who they are. And so Ian did a great job filling in for Scott Bridger. In fact.
Well, as we know, Greg's place and when we're in these things is behind the camera.
Do you know why? There's two reasons why.
You got a face for radio?
Well, it's the quality of the video that I want to make sure. The second thing is the care and custody and control of the camera equipment. Because if I put it into your hands, sure can be, I'd be looking for a new camera.
Yeah, and I hope that there was good editing that took place as well. In any event, let's move on.
Fantastic editing.
This week we were. I was pleased to be at We Day, and that's it's going to be a lead-in. But BlackBerry is still a very, very huge component of our community, and they still are. Notwithstanding some of the challenges they're going through, they've always been a great community partner, and they still continue to be and putting on programs like this. And it was 6,000 kids. And hearing the message of We Day from Craig and Mark Kielberger about kids making a difference and how they can make a contribution in their community, not only locally but nationally and right across the globe, which is a great message, and it was really inspiring to see that many kids in one place at the Kitchener-Odd. But BlackBerry, this is the lead, and we'll.
Ian was right at home.
And we Peter, you've been MP since 2006.
2008.
Like
actually,
I said,
yeah.
2008. I was just testing you to make sure if you knew.
Coming across as more experienced, perhaps.
Peter, it's great to have you in the studio.
Great to be back.
Now, we have, one of the things we wanted to get from you is just talk about, because we're going to hear in a minute about the specific program, but what are the things that you've been doing to try and, this is an issue that affects, the elected officials, municipally, provincially, federally, in fact, the whole community. So what are the things you've been doing to kind of coordinate and bring some focus to how we support BlackBerry in its transition, how we support the individuals that are affected, and more broadly, what are the things we can do to sort of look to what's next in terms of growing our economy? And we hope, and I believe, that BlackBerry will still be a significant component, just not probably as big as it was. So what are the things you've been doing in that context?
That's right. So let me just pick up on the point that you made, Ian. BlackBerry's support of We Day, which is a wonderful community event involving Free the Children, a great organization, Craig and Mark Kielberger. For over a decade, our community has benefited significantly from the business success and the corporate philanthropy from BlackBerry. BlackBerry, as we know, is going through some challenges. I'm certain that given that BlackBerry is a globally iconic brand, that they still have industry-leading technology in terms of their BBM, their operating system and platform, the industry-leading security, that BlackBerry will continue to succeed and continue to exist in one form or another. In the meantime, as we know, the company is going through a difficult transition. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that transition, jobs are being impacted. So my first thought and concern is for the individuals and the families who are affected by the layoffs. So as an elected official, as a community leader, this is, for me, has been top of mind for the last number of months, quite literally. Before I go into some of the work that we've been doing as a community to help continue to provide support, let me just touch on my thinking with respect to the situation. I have feelings of both optimism and feelings of realism concerning the situation. Let me first tell you why I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic for the reasons I mentioned, that I think BlackBerry will be certain to continue to succeed. I'm optimistic because there are organizations like Communitech and the chambers in Kitchener-Waterloo and Cambridge that will continue to support our community, particularly the business community. I'm optimistic because we have 1,000 high-tech companies in this community. We are the startup capital of Canada. We have a strong innovation ecosystem. I'm optimistic because we have a strong, diversified local economy. And in addition to high-tech, we've got financial services and post-secondary education. I'm realistic because the numbers that we're hearing in terms of the layoffs from BlackBerry are significant. Mm-hmm. And that's why, as a community, we often talk about the fact that we're barn raisers, that we're collaborative. If there was ever a time for this community to be collaborative, the time is now. So this speaks to some of the work I've been doing with elected officials, with my colleagues, federally, provincially, municipally, talking about how we can continue to ensure that the community remains strong and resilient. Fortunately, in our case, federally, in our last budget, for example, we renewed FedDev Ontario, which is our economic development agency for southwestern Ontario. The Minister for FedDev, of course, is the Member of Parliament for Cambridge, Minister Goodyear. So those programs will be rolling out shortly. We hope to have the renewed FedDev programs announced in a number of weeks.
Nearly $1 billion, I believe.
It's another $1 billion. Yeah. And again, this was it ends up being quite serendipitous. I mean, we renewed FedDev because the organization is so important to our economic strength in this region. Mm-hmm. The fact that BlackBerry is now going through the challenges it's going through, is I guess good planning. Yeah. So we've got FedDev coming. The previous budget, we announced the Venture Capital Action Plan as well federally, and we'll be seeing venture capital roll out across the country, and we'll benefit from that in our community as well. So those are the sorts of things that we're going to ensure are in place. And in terms of the individuals who are impacted, again, my first thought goes to the individuals and the families affected. We're making sure that they have the programs in place that they require, that if they're eligible, for example, following their severance for employment insurance, that they're aware of that program, how they apply, the time periods they apply. It's important, for example, to remind people that even though they may benefit from severance, you need to apply for employment insurance within 4 weeks from your layoff date.
All right, we're going to come back with more.
That's important, and we should talk more about that.
We're going to come back with more. We're going to take a break here and come back with more with Kitchener-Waterloo MP Peter Braid and Karen Gallant from Communitech, because it's often been said that BlackBerry workers are highly sought after. These ex-workers are highly sought after. They bring a lot of skills to the table, as Communitech is well aware of, and we'll talk about how Communitech is assisting these workers and how Mr. Braid, through FedDev Ontario, is going to assist these workers. It's not all doom and gloom. There's a lot of talk now about resuscitation of this company and a resurgence of this company. Mm-hmm. The new management team is dedicated to not just holding the fort, but actually returning it to its former glory. Yeah. I think that's possible.
We're going to hear
I think that's very possible. This is a great product.
Yeah.
I swear by it. I'm never switching. There's a dedicated, loyal fan base for this device, the BlackBerry, and I believe this. As long as you stay determined and optimistic and stay positive, anything is possible.
Well, there's some interesting.
And they're talking about returning this thing to its former.
There's some interesting initiatives happening through Communitech that we'll hear later as well.
And I want to know from Karen, these are very highly skilled workers. I want to know how sought after they are and the ways that we can reintegrate them into the workforce. Okay, we're going to come back with more as Business to Business continues on 570 News.
We'll be right back with more Business to Business powered by Save on Energy. Call in with your questions at star 570 570 2545 or 1-800-570-5715. You're listening to Business powered by Save on Energy, featuring local businesses, solutions, and success stories, connecting community through business on 570 News.
Welcome back to Business on 570 News, powered by Save on Energy. And Greg DeRocher, Greater Cambridge Chamber of Commerce. You were saying we have overseas listeners right now.
Yes, we do. We've got my good friend Brian Cleary from the Clonmel Chamber of Commerce in Ireland listening.
He's listening right now?
Yes.
Well, my great-great-great-great-grandfather, George Bowles, was born in County Cavan in 1801 and came to Simcoe County in 1826. So. Just a little shout out to the Irish listening right now. We're being web streamed at 570news.com, so you can check us out on the web at www.570news.com, and that's done through the chamber, right? It's a link to that. It's a chamber web stream that we hook that we link to, right? So you can see that you can watch the show on your computer at 570news.com.
And Stefan Wurzburg from Oregon as well is listening as well.
Stefan Wurzburg from Oregon.
Yeah.
All right. There once was a man from Oregon named
Stefan
Wurzburg.
No, don't get started, boys. We got important stuff.
Wait a minute. You can't just send that out there. Stefan Wurzburg from Oregon. Why would you just throw? Who is this guy? And why is he in Oregon?
Well, he's a chamber executive as well, and he's looking for good pointers from the Cambridge Chamber.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Stefan.
You're like my brother. He always says, "Boy, that president of the Cambridge Chamber really carries the show."
Now listen.
By the way, that's my twin brother that's saying that.
If you have a comment or a question for the show, Greg and Ian would be pleased to answer it. You can email us at any time, and we'll get to it. It's biz to biz. That's biz with a Z. Biz to biz at 570news.com. biz2biz at 570news.com. All right, let's continue our conversation now. We're joined in studio by Kitchener-Waterloo MP Peter Braid, and Karen Gallant of Communitech is also with us, and we'll be talking with her as well. The upside, the good news, as Peter pointed out, he's an optimist and a realist, and you know we can't deny the reality of what's going on with BlackBerry, but we're here to help these highly skilled workers.
Now, I think one of the things I wanted to, before because I got a couple more questions, but I really think it's important. Right at the end, we were talking about those that are displaced should really be understanding their rights and their responsibility to apply for EI, even if they get severance. Because one of the important parts about that is we want people to be able to have the support they need to find that next job, and we want that next job to be here in the region with 1,000 tech companies and all of the other companies where many of those people will end up working that are outside of tech. We want them to stay here. So just talk a little bit about that, and then I want to talk about how we're supporting other sectors to sort of soak up that talent that's here. So what tell us about the EI program and how to get in touch so they know about it, whether it's through Communitech or through your office.
Exactly. So again, just a reminder that anyone who is laid off, whether it be from BlackBerry or another company, if you're laid off with a severance package, you can collect employment insurance only after the severance runs out. Mm-hmm. However, it's critically important that you file, that you register, that you apply for your EI within this is the deadline, within 4 weeks of your layoff date. Many people forget or don't realize, expect the EI to follow the severance, but you need to meet that critical deadline of 4 weeks from layoff. That's really important. The other reason it's important, if you do need, hopefully many of these people won't require employment insurance. They'll find another job while they're receiving severance as a result of our strong innovation ecosystem. But if they do need to rely on employment insurance, there are many other benefits that come along with that program as well, including job banks and job searches and referrals to other potential employment opportunities. There are job fairs that Communitech runs that I know Karen will be speaking about shortly. So it's really important you get into the system, as it were.
Okay. Now, there are other sectors, and we were just talking about this off air, and I think this is what gets lost in this, is many of the folks that have been displaced at BlackBerry are very highly skilled, but they're not pure technology workers. They will be supported or find jobs in other, whether it's in financial services, because they will be, HR specialists. They'll be sales specialists. They'll be, any of the support, manufacturing, warehousing. Because BlackBerry is our biggest manufacturer in the region of Waterloo. So what are the things you're trying to coordinate with other elected officials about how we support not only BlackBerry but getting those workers into the other jobs that may be available in the region? And then the follow-on to that is, what are the things that you're planning in the collaboration you're doing with other elected officials, Communitech, the chambers, about what's next? Like budget seasons are coming up soon, federally and provincially. What are the things that we're trying to look at as being the other things to support in this transition period?
That's right. So again, it's important to point out that it's not potentially only tech workers who may be impacted by this situation. The tech workers have a strong innovation ecosystem, again, to benefit from 1,000 other high-tech companies. It's important that we continue to find ways to foster innovation, to strengthen that tech innovation ecosystem for the tech workers. But for the people beyond the tech workers, we need to be looking at our manufacturing sector, our advanced manufacturing sector. We need to be ensuring that our small and medium-sized enterprises are supported. I'm reminded of the fact that we've recently finalized a free trade agreement with Europe. This is a huge opportunity for a wide range of businesses in our community. So we need to obviously focus on the tech sector, but realize that all of our sectors in the community need to continue to be supported.
And what are the things you're doing in terms of what's next? I know you've had some meetings with the mayors and the regional chair and the provincial representatives, as well as business leaders like ourselves and Karen and Communitech. But what's next? So how are you trying to make sure that it's a coordinated approach?
Yes. Well, again, as I explained earlier, this has been top of mind for me for the last number of weeks, if not months. I've personally held a number of one-on-one consultations with business leaders, with community leaders, elected officials at all levels of government are working together, are talking about this, the importance of this issue, the importance of being prepared. Again, federally, we have a budget coming in the new year. My asks of that budget, if you will be framed in this context. So as elected officials, what we need to do is ensure that existing government programs can be leveraged to ensure that our community remains strong and that individuals who need programs have those programs to assist and to support them.
That's terrific information. This is all about people and connecting people with the opportunities that exist in the region, and because as Ian talked about it, as Peter talked about it, it's critically important that we try and retain the intelligence in our community and the skill sets in our community. Karen, you've done a lot of work now. That's your main focus now is really connecting people with businesses, and these job fairs that you're doing are absolutely amazing. And I know, speaking for Ian McLean as well, we're very excited with the chambers to be involved with this and try and connect people maybe that aren't necessarily in that tech field, but certainly can be. We want to keep them and retain them in our community. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about the job fairs and how they work.
Absolutely. So thanks very much for having me on the show today. We just ran, actually, a job fair a couple weeks ago at Binghamton's, and we had more than 50 companies and more than 700 candidates in the room. So you can see there's a great deal of interest from both employers and job seekers. And really the forum for this is to help connect people with employment opportunities, to learn more about the companies that are in the room, because we have so many great companies here within tech, within other industries, and it's hard for candidates to know exactly what's going on. So this is a great chance for them to do that.
What was the makeup of the room? You said there was 50 employers in the room that are looking for talent, and that's exactly what we're trying to do is help with our members, who some of were tech but are right across the board.
Yep.
What did that room look like in terms of the employer component?
So there was a representation from all different industries. Tech certainly was well represented there, but we had financial companies, insurance companies, we had healthcare, we had manufacturing. So lots of interest in the people coming out of BlackBerry from all kinds of companies right across different sectors, and that's really important.
I think what we forget is, in today's day and age of technology, every single business relies on technology in some fashion or another, and we shouldn't be trying to pigeonhole people, and say, well, just because you're working in the tech sector, the specific what we would call the tech sector, that doesn't necessarily mean that your skills can't transfer into other areas or other businesses in our community that require those skill sets as well.
Absolutely right. Whether you're in retail, hospitality, not-for-profit, the other sectors that we've already talked about, tech is ubiquitous right across. And people coming out of BlackBerry have very transferable skills, whether they were in the IT side of the business or in more of the business support side.
All right, we're going to take a break and come back with more with Karen Gallant, Director of Talent Networks for Communitech, and still in studio, and what a delight to have him on the show, Kitchener-Waterloo MP Peter Braid. You're listening to Business, powered by Save On Energy on 570 News.
Business to Business, powered by Save On Energy, a presentation of 570 News. Watch the live video webcast at 570news.com. We'll return with more Business to Business. It's not just what you know, it's who you know. Connecting community through business. This is Business to Business on 570 News, powered by Save On Energy.
Welcome back to Business on 570 News, powered by Save On Energy. Thanks to our producers, Candace Cobbing and Catherine.
You're welcome.
Catherine Drake. Karen's in studio. Karen Gallant, Director of Talent Networks for Communitech, and Greg DeRocher in studio. The presidency of the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce. Ian McLean had to leave, but great
He's
conversation.
He's going to call in, actually.
Great conversation with Peter Braid, and great to have him on the show.
Kind of exciting. We got an email.
Yes, we do. This is great. Feel free to email the program at any time. Greg and Ian are always willing to answer your questions, and if you want to comment on something you've heard on the show, you can drop us a line at biz2biz@570news.com. That's biz with a Z, biz2biz@570news.com. And we do have one from Jim Moss, who says, as a CEO of a small local startup, we would love to find great people who are shaking loose from BlackBerry, but oftentimes they're out of our pay range. It's not that they aren't worth it, more that it's a much larger risk, and we're not sure of whether they are a good match for startup life, and we can't guarantee and offer some of the luxuries of major corporations. It would be excellent to get a subsidized 90-day dating period to try out some of these employees and to identify the best match while reducing the risk to the small early-stage companies. Great discussion, by the way, and thank you for your commitment to our community, Jim Moss of Plasticity
that's
Incorporated. And you know this guy, Karen. You've dealt with him before.
I do. So I'd like to say hi to Jim.
Yeah, say hi to Jim. Jim Moss of Plasticity Inc. Thank you so much for reading.
You know what, though? Jim brings up a really interesting point. And you know, what we should be doing, maybe the two chambers of commerce and Communitech, we should be working together to develop some ideas and concepts around exactly that, because I understand exactly what Jim is talking about. Jim's, you know, hey, there is some risk, and quite frankly, you know, we want those individuals who are off of, who have been laid off from BlackBerry, we want them to have the opportunity to gain employment at a roughly the same pay level.
Yep.
We want them to be able to contribute. So, you know, we should be maybe working on that, because I think that's what's going to really cause the issue with us in retaining that talent in our community.
I think it's a great idea. So thanks for sending that in.
So we'll get Ian Klugman on that, and the two Ians and the Greg will go after that for sure, and maybe talk to Peter Braden and maybe Minister Goodyear about some programs around that. But Jim, thanks very much for your email, because that's a critically important issue, and I think we need to do that. Karen, earlier we were talking about the job fairs where employers come but, you know, I was online this morning, snooping around as I often do on Sunday mornings, but I came across something, and Glenn mentioned it a few minutes ago, a really interesting virtual job fair. So this is something that everybody in the community who is looking for work really should be getting involved with and going online. So talk a little bit about that, and that's on November the 26th, I believe.
It is November the 26th.
So that's Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yeah.
Yes. So let's talk about that, because we should be driving people right now to register for that.
We should be, absolutely. So this is our fourth virtual career fair. This is the second one that we're doing with partners right across Canada. And so we have companies from BC, from Manitoba, from Ontario.
It's worth pointing out, Karen, I just want to quickly interrupt, that Communitech does have offices in various other provinces across the country. This you've got your BC, your Quebec, Manitoba.
So they're partners.
But you're at partner offices, and they're all kind of linking in on this.
Well, they're different organizations. But we work very closely with quite a number of different Communitech-like organizations right across the country, but they are individual organizations. And so we're working with them, again, to try and help companies in the various regions tap into talent, whether that's talent coming out of BlackBerry or elsewhere across the country. And we also have some international candidates that are looking at that event.
Good. Brian Cleary from Ireland.
Yeah.
He should be getting that's right. He should be sending his member as well.
Exactly. So it's going to be really great. It's very similar in terms of what you kind of think about in terms of a job fair, except it's all done online. I don't recommend you do it in your pajamas, but you can if you want. But you know, you can webcam.
So how does it work? So you log in, I guess, or so maybe run us through what's going to happen if you're participating in this.
Sure. So individuals log in, they create a profile for themselves, they answer a few questions about their demographic and, you know, the kind of experience they have and things like that. They can load up a resume online, and then they can do that before the event or during the event. And then they have the chance during the event to chat via instant message with recruiters, with hiring managers, with other candidates potentially, with folks from the various regions that we're working with, to learn about those places and those opportunities. And so, it's a pretty safe place to be looking for a job, and it's very cool. As I say, we've done it 4 times, and there's been a lot of success from it.
This is really, really cool. So, okay, so if there's someone out there listening right now who wants to participate, how do they register? How do they get involved with this?
So candidates can go to the website Canadian Tech Jobs Plus. I hope I got that right. Maybe Glenn's got it up. You can confirm that. CanadianTechJobsPlus.com, and there's a link right on the website that they can register right there.
And it's no charge?
No charge.
Yeah, it's CanadianTechJobsPlus.com. You're right.
Excellent.
They're calling it the Canadian Tech Job Expo, noon to 6 on Tuesday. And again, you're linking up with similar organizations to Communitech, representing workers in Manitoba, Quebec, and BC.
Yes.
And among the exhibitors, again, there are exhibitors representing those aforementioned provinces. But locally, looking for new talent are Descartes, Desire to Learn, Rebellion Media, just to mention some local ones, and OpenText.
Right.
There's
a couple of those were named as our top employers in the region too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kudos to them. But a bunch of others from right across the country. So yeah. So it's happening in a live 3D virtual environment.
Yeah.
Ooh, 3D.
3D.
Yeah.
That is very cool. I think that would be really cool to participate in. And as you say, you can do it in your pajamas. You probably shouldn't, but.
Just don't turn on the webcam function if you are in your pajamas.
I've always said what people should be doing is getting up, getting dressed as they normally would anyway, and getting ready to search that job. But let's get back to these job fairs that, the Greater KW Chamber of Commerce and myself at the Cambridge Chamber of Commerce, we're going to help promote and participate and get some of our members involved with as well. I know there isn't another one scheduled at this point, but we are working on getting one for January. Is that correct?
That is correct. Probably mid to late January.
Mid to late January. We're going to be looking for employers that are going to come and set up a booth, I assume, where they can face-to-face meet with individuals who are looking for employment opportunities within the region of Waterloo.
That's correct. It'll give them some great brand because we do a lot of promotion prior to the event to get candidates there. It gives them that opportunity at no cost to source talent, and they can sort of do that pre-screen before they even invite a candidate for an interview. So it's really quite beneficial, and it gives candidates the opportunity to put a face and a resume together, which is really, really important.
Now, what you've done as well, what Communitech can provide, is for companies who are looking for, but really maybe don't have the time to do it themselves, you have recruiters that can work with the companies and the potential candidates as well. So talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so this is through our Tech Jobs Connects project, which is funded by the Ministry of Training Colleges and Universities. It's an Employment Ontario initiative, and we have coordinators who will work with the individual former BlackBerry employees to be able to really understand what their needs are, to help connect them with their next opportunity, whether that's through the chamber in another industry or whether it's through the tech industry. And we also have recruiters who are going to be working with employers individually, doing whatever they need, whether that's helping to source candidates, whether that's really talking about the employment branding side of it, whether it's arranging coffee meet and greets. Some employers would like to do that. They have some specific skills that they're looking to hire. We'll go through, we'll source some candidates, put them all in one room together, and see where that goes. So
we're going to take a break and come back with more with our guest, Karen Gallant of Communitech, where she is Director of Talent Networks, in conversation with Greg DeRocher, President, CEO, Cambridge Chamber of Commerce. And on the phone, he was in studio for the first half of the show, is Ian McLean. Are you still there, Ian?
I'm here.
All right, Ian McLean is on the line. So dedicated is he that he did have to be in transit between 12:30 and 1, but he's doing the show en route.
I hope he's hands-free.
No, that's dedicated. Totally hands-free, of course. And we're going to come back with more as Business to Business continues, powered by Save on Energy on 570 News.
We'll be right back with more Business to Business, powered by Save on Energy. Call in with your questions at star 570, 570-2545, or 1-800-570-5715. Creates a strong Waterloo region, and when businesses support each other, they support the community. Now back to Business, powered by Save on Energy on 570 News.
Right, very quickly, wrapping it up with Karen Gallant of Communitech.
Yeah,
we want to leave you with two things.
Karen, thanks very much for joining us today. But I really want to make sure that we emphasize this event on November the 26th. So please, again, remind us about that and how to get connected with that. And as well, for anyone else who can't do that, how do they get in touch with Communitech?
So the event is happening, it's a virtual career fair, and it's happening Tuesday, November the 26th from 12 till 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. Register on CanadianTechJobsPlus.com. And if we can help you in your job search, please contact us at Connex, CONNEX, at communitech.ca. And thanks so much for having me on today.
Fantastic. You were great, Karen. You're welcome back anytime. Karen Gallant was our guest from Communitech. Time now for another installment with Jeff Quint from Waterloo North Hydro, here to talk about the importance of Save on Energy.
Well, thanks for coming back in, Jeff. Last time we were talking, it was Small Business Week. We were talking about ways you work with small and medium-sized business, and we ran out of time. But I did want to ask you about Peak Saver Plus, because that's something that is really targeted for the folks that we hope are listening to our show. So tell us a little bit about that program.
So Peak Saver Plus is an expansion of an existing program known as Peak Saver, and basically what it is a program to help customers manage their electricity load through programmable thermostats, and the plus part of the program is providing them with what we call an energy display. And this energy display gives customers near real-time information on their energy usage, so what they're doing right now, so they can carry it around their facility, and they can see exactly what's happening, turning things on and off, and they can learn what's a high energy user and a low energy user, which then allows them to target different opportunities within their business. It's free to customers, both residential and small business customers. And like I said, it's made up of a programmable thermostat that is professionally installed by local installers, and this in-home display or in-business display that gives them near real-time energy information.
That's great. And so as we talk about this, I mean, building the business case. So I'm a small business owner. We work with a lot of small business. They're going to want to know. We talked a little bit about what the size of your programs are, but what is the business case? Like, what are some of the things you talk about? You got tangibles, intangibles, return on investment, operation costs. What are the things that you lay out for people in terms of building that business case?
Well, the key area is that everybody always focuses on is what kind of savings I'm going to see, and they look at the dollars and cents at the end of the day. But you have to look at the savings from switching from an old piece of technology to a new piece of technology. But look at the maintenance savings, the operational savings, not having to change out lights so often. Those kind of things all function into the business case, and a lot of times people don't bring them all into play at one point of time. And those are the measurable ones. Those are the ones you see. They're the dollars and cents on the bottom line. But it's the intangibles. You could improve your lighting. You may have happier employees. You may have better light. And all those things add up to more productivity in your facility and things like that.
So it's just, to some extent, it's not just dollars and cents. It's there's those softer things. So if you got more comfortable employees and more productive employees, that's one of the benefits as well.
Certainly. One of the key things we see as stumbling blocks when people are looking at the building a business case and a success story is that they hit a home run with some project early on where they have a great project and has a great return on investment and a really low payback period, and then they stumble across the next project and management stumbles upon it and says, I don't know where to go with this. It doesn't match up to the other project. And what we do is say, look at them all as a big project, and then use the programs and the savings to finance other projects. Use the incentive to finance that next project. Use the savings to finance that next project, and build it in something that's long-term, something that's sustainable within the organization.
And one of the things we haven't talked about here is just the general satisfaction one gets by knowing they've done their part for the environment. I mean, I'm constantly turning lights off. Not because I'm concerned about saving money. It's not going to save you that much in my home to turn off a light.
That's just
constantly.
the right thing to do.
But it's just there's a principle involved, and in deliberately being green, for the sake of it, there's a certain amount of satisfaction in that.
Well, there certainly is, and you've got customers and consumers looking for this. They want to work with businesses that do what they do. Mm-hmm. Businesses and people like to do business with people that they like and do things that they like. So it's the right thing to do, but it's a way to really improve that bottom line, and a great way to make an impact in the community.
Now, we talk about this. Is there a place to go? Does the website have like an online where you can figure out how to do that, or is it best done when you have one of your staff come in and actually walk through it with someone?
Well, the best place to find information on it is at saveonenergy.ca, but the best way to get involved with us is contact your local distribution company, and they'll be happy to come out and walk through your facility and walk through the programs.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeff. Our guest has been Jeff Quint from Waterloo North Hydro. You're listening to Business, powered by Save On Energy on 570 News. Always great to have Jeff with us, and you can find out more by going to saveonenergy.ca. And
Speaking of Save On Energy,
yes.
Speaking of Save On Energy, they are back on as well on with LeaderCast, sponsoring our LeaderCast program, which is a motivational day of excitement on May the 9th at Binghamans. And there were a number of people who attended our show last year. Excellent. I will definitely get a table for all my staff next year were some of the comments. Great event. Need more like it throughout the year. Great speakers. Really enjoyed the day. And this year, coming up again on May the 9th, is Andy Stanley. Desmond Tutu is going to be speaking. Malcolm Gladwell, right from the regional Waterloo.
There's a good get. Malcolm Gladwell.
He's going to be really good.
Of Outliers fame.
Yes.
And to put this to let people know what LeaderCast is all about. You're joining a global network of business types who are all synced up, watching a live broadcast out of Atlanta.
Yep.
And you're all joined in cyberspace.
We're
really
connected, yes, virtually, so to speak, just like we talked about with.
But it's a way of attending a great seminar without having to drive to Atlanta or fly to Atlanta.
It's just amazing. We had a bunch of people at Binghamton's. We know this year it's going to be, if any indication was our business expo recently, we're going to be sold out.
30 seconds,
sure.
Greg. Anything else you want to add?
Yes, I do. On May the 4th or December the 4th. We have our annual mayor's breakfast. We always bring in guest mayors along with our own mayor. This year we have Brenda Halloran from Waterloo is going to be speaking, as well as Bob Brattina from Hamilton.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Yes,
Bob Brattina.
Competitor of yours.
Yeah, cheering for the Tiger Cats.
Yes, now he will be.
Good luck to them.
Yes.
In the Grey Cup.
So that's coming up on December the 4th, and if you want to register, you can go on CambridgeChamber.com.
Right.
Also, mark the date for May the 9th for LeaderCast, and you can go on next week and register as well.
All right, thank you, Greg. We've been listening to Business on 570 News, powered by Save On Energy. Our thanks to our producers, Catherine Drake and Candace Cobbing. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day. We're back next Sunday with another edition of Business to Business right here on 570 News.